Well, we're seeing a lot of success. We see indies with very robust careers, making a lot of money for themselves and building their brand and their audience. We see very good success in translation. That's been a really wonderful thing. There's no prejudice anymore that an indie author is not worth looking at, and you've got to be published by one of the big five or more. So in translation, we're seeing a lot of activity, which has been great. In audio, we're also doing a fair amount of licensing. Same reason, indies are not considered not marketable, but quite the opposite. We're also seeing the emergence of audio translation, which is becoming a big and vital business, which is really great to see a whole new right emerge with a market that's another whole revenue stream. So all those things are good. They are basically the selective rights that Ally has talked about, that you may manage the center of your career and your indie selling of books, but there are all these other revenue streams that you can get involved by licensing or occasionally going direct. And we're excited that we're seeing a tiny stream of daylight for print-only deals. And that is very hard to get. We've only really got one or two, but we're excited that it could happen, that the large publishers may convert their thinking into saying that doing print for an indie may be a business that they're willing to add to. And finally, Hollywood is real. It usually seems like it's unreal, and it has a lot of unreal aspects, but we have done 5 or 6 film deals. We're seeing shopping agreements, we're seeing options. Hollywood is very interested in books. An indie book is fully valuable to them. No one says, oh, so-and-so didn't publish it, why should I bother? If they see something going on that attracts them, we also can do those licenses. Those licenses may also come your way. Well, self-publishers are becoming the farm league for the big publishers. They are looking at indies as being people that have started their careers and are now worth, frankly, acquiring, taking over. So the indies are viewed as a kind of a strange animal to them. On one hand, they're in this other world of indie publishing, which they only know so much about. And on the other hand, they see it as being the new way to get published, frankly. And they see that's where the talent is. So start your career as an indie, and then there's a fork in the road. Do you want a traditional deal at some point? Do you want to convert traditional, or do you want to stay indie? So they very much are super aware of the indies because they see the gigantic success in the various numbers in the various platforms. They see their Amazon numbers, they see other numbers. And so they see that indies are selling books comparable to the paperback parts of their own business. Well, I think it's a very fraught area because, frankly, there are probably too many agents, and it's much more hard to sell to traditional publishers, at least in our experience. And that means that there's a tremendous pressure on young agents. And I think that's very unfortunate because we need them, and agents, I think, are essential to be only a little self-serving. But it does mean that when you take on other aspects of the author's publishing business, I think it dilutes to some degree your authority and the amount of time you could spend literally developing manuscripts and going out there and selling. So I think it's a somewhat precarious mix. We don't pursue it ourselves, but we are an established agency, and we're very involved in rights work, and we also are involved in our own indie work in the sense that revert and publish is part of what we do for our authors. Publishing as a service. Well, we've reverted and republished 300 books from our author backlist. So that has been us becoming sort of a mini indie. But we've done that because it was such an essential service. The long-term authors got 20, 30, 40 books that are earning, 25 cents a year, sitting neglected on a traditional publisher's list. We've reverted those books, we've republished those books, and we've given them a new revenue stream. So that's an essential area that I think, young agents should be able to get involved in, which I'd highly recommend. Well, it's a tricky question. I mean, I think that your only potential for success is the book. The book is the absolute fundamental element that's going to make you popular. Virality does exist. A popular author will, through word of mouth, build dramatically. So your energy's got to go into the book. That's where most of your time should be spent. That said, you are in a business, and you have to get acclimated and aware of what's going on and how to make it work. You've got to spend some time working the business side of it. We look at 2 or 3 marketing plans a month from a traditional publisher. And we're very aware of what our indie authors are doing, and we discuss it with them. And it's like being in the middle of a hurricane, frankly, where there's so much information. This stuff is flying around. You're trying to understand and cope with the dramatic amount of opportunities and problems that go with it. But I would say that, and no matter what stage you are, you must get involved with the marketing side. You must be aware of what works and what doesn't work, what people are doing and not doing, what has failed and what doesn't fail. And you just, at a minimum, you have to be aware and engaged. And maximum, some people run really serious campaigns and they're satisfied with the results. I think each author can speak for themselves on that.